Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, I am finally going to showcase the brand new SSR Plus character, Data UREK Mazino. I know you guys have been waiting for me to make this video, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to really test him out to see his overall performance. And I'm not gonna lie, so far this character is not looking good, but I'm going to explain further in the video. But before I get started, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server, so if you guys are interested, you can join the server by going to my channel description. You see the server link there, and I'll also post a server link in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into the video. All right, so since I don't have the character, how am I possibly going to test this character? So we're going to come over here to arena simulation. So I've been spending, a lot of time testing him in arena simulation, and I came to a conclusion that this character, he definitely requires a lot of investment, but there's something extremely weird about him. So before I explain that, this is the team that I'm basically using in arena simulation. So what I'm doing here is I'm using Data UREK Mazino in a yellow team. I'm putting him with Evan, Bomb, and sometimes I will put in Yiwa or Hats. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put Yiwa in this team, and then Ranmei is basically there to provide shielding to increase your survivability. So the enemy team is going to be Flight UREK Mazino, and it's going to be Bomb, Yiwa. It's going to be the same exact thing. The only difference is that this team, the enemy team, is going to have Flight UREK Mazino, and then for this team, Data UREK Mazino is going to be the tank of this team. That's the only difference between the two teams. So the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to test, the similarities and differences between Flight UREK Mazino and Data UREK Mazino, and to test and see which one is better. And it's like, after testing this, Flight UREK Mazino is still better. He's clearly better. So I'm going to go ahead and show this to you guys. So you guys will literally understand what I'm going to say. So I'm going to go ahead and click quick result. Now my team is going to win. Like, the Data UREK Mazino team is going to win, but look at his performance and look at Flight UREK Mazino's performance. Flight UREK Mazino able to deal more damage. He was able to take more damage, and he was able to heal a lot more. And look at Data UREK Mazino's performance, 146 billion. That's how much damage he was able to take. And his healing, it's non-existent, and the self-healing is pretty much non-existent, and the damage, it's not bad. But Flight UREK Mazino, his performance was still overall better. But the reason why my team was able to win, the Data UREK Mazino team was able to win, is because Yiwa, like, the fact that there's 4 yellow elements on the team, Yiwa is able to deal more damage than the Yiwa on the enemy team, because in this enemy team there's only 3 elements, so only 3 yellow elements, so Yiwa's attack is not as big as the Yiwa on my team. So that's the only reason why that team was able to win, because Yiwa has that additional attack versus the enemy team who doesn't have that additional attack. So you guys can clearly see what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go ahead and click replay for you guys, and you're going to see how Data UREK Mazino, his performance is just not that good. Okay, why are they showing the cutscenes? So look at this. Data UREK Mazino, right? He was able to deal some decent damage against Flight, but look at him die instantly against Yiwa. So Yiwa is literally the only reason why this team was able to win. So I'm going to go back over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take out Yiwa, and we're going to put in Hats. Now remember, guys, I'm going to put Yiwa in one more time just to prove you guys that this is just not RNG. So I'm going to click quick result again. It's going to be the same thing again and again. Data UREK Mazino, his performance is just not there. Look at this. Look at how bad the performance is. And he has the same amount of limit break as the Flight UREK Mazino. So I'm going to go ahead and take Yiwa out, and we're going to put in Hats. Now look at Data UREK Mazino's performance right here. This is what makes it really weird. Look at his performance. Even though my team loses, look at the performance. 358 billion damage, 274 billion, and he was able to heal a lot more. So he was able to do a lot more damage than Flight UREK Mazino, but Flight UREK Mazino was still able to take more damage. But the reason why I'm doing this is because this is really weird. Like the fact that Hats is able to allow Data UREK Mazino to have a better performance than Iwa, it's not really good, because that basically means that in order for Data UREK Mazino to be good, you have to invest in Hats in order for Data UREK Mazino to actually, you know, do a lot in your team. But compared to Iwa, you don't want to really invest a lot into Hats when you already have a character like Iwa who's going to deal a ton of damage. Like, she's clearly better than Hats. So it's kind of like a flip-flop situation where if you want your Data UREK Mazino to be good, you're gonna have to use him with Hats, because it's clear that Hats allows Data UREK Mazino to perform way better. But Iwa, look how much damage she's able to deal compared to Hats. Way more damage. So it's pretty obvious that in order for him to work, Data UREK Mazino to really do a lot of damage, you have to pair him up with Hats, which is not really good overall, because Iwa is just a better character. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep Hats in his team, but I'm going to increase Data UREK Mazino's limit break. Let's make him a little bit stronger. Let's add that 3 limit break so that he can get that additional defense. And we're going to do the same exact thing to Flight UREK Mazino. So let's go ahead and add that. Let's close that. Let's do a quick result again. And our team is still going to lose. So it's pretty much proven that Flight UREK Mazino, he's just the better option. He's the better option because he works perfectly well with Iwa. Look how much damage Iwa was able to do, and she doesn't even have 4 yellow elements on the team. There's only 3 yellow elements, and she was able to do 2,449 billion damage. And Data UREK Mazino, he was able to deal a decent amount of damage. But I'm going to go ahead and click replay, and I'm going to show you guys why Ron May is a really good counter to Data UREK Mazino. So look at this right here. So Data UREK Mazino, his health is already really low, but look at the shield that Flight UREK Mazino is able to provide, and you pair that up with Ron May's shield. Look at this. The team is just untouchable, right? And look at that. Data UREK Mazino literally did his special skill, and he wasn't even able to take down Ron May's shield. So Ron May is a really nasty counter to Data UREK Mazino. Look at this. He wasn't even able to take down one enemy because of the shield that Flight UREK Mazino is providing to the team, and Ron May as well. So Ron May is a nasty counter to Data UREK Mazino. And what's even more insane is the fact that Ron May was able to deal more damage than Data UREK Mazino. And when we look at Data UREK Mazino's kit, his kit, there's just a lot of, you know, damage involved in his kit. Like when we come over here to his passive, he can basically decrease the cooldown of his unstable skill. But I feel like what makes this skill, the unstable skill, pretty mid is because when we come down over here, it says unstable skill does not activate again while this physical resistance increase effect is active. So for his unstable skill, he's going to have a physical increase, a physical resistance increase by 80% for 10 seconds, but he won't be able to cast his active skill once the physical resistance increase effect is active. So he won't be able to use this skill for 10 seconds. And I feel like that's what really holds him back, the fact that he can't use this skill for 10 seconds. But that can probably work well with his passive, since the passive is able to decrease the cooldown. But at the end of the day, he won't be able to use it because of the physical resistance increase. So I feel like the unstable skill, that part really kind of messes his kit up. Now, if you guys are wondering what is his best ignition weapon, well, his best ignition weapon is clearly going to be the Bergamot set or the defense set. The set that gives him additional defense, that set is going to be pretty good for him. But honestly, is he worth the investment? I don't really think so. I don't think he's worth the investment when you have other characters like Flight UREK Mazino who can clearly perform way better than him. So I'm going to go ahead and take Hats right back out, and we're going to put in Iwa once again, and we're going to increase Data UREK Mazino's limit break to at least red stars, right? We're going to increase it to red stars. We're going to increase Flight UREK Mazino to red stars as well. Now, Data UREK Mazino's team is going to win. So yeah, we were still able to win, but look at the performance. The performance is really, not good. It's really mid compared to Flight UREK Mazino's performance, where he's taking a ton of damage, he's dealing way more damage, and he's able to heal more, like apply that self-heal. Now, yes, Flight UREK Mazino is a warrior unit, sure, but even though he's a warrior unit, Data UREK Mazino has a ton of, damage dealing involved in his kit, and I proved to you guys that when you pair him up with hats, he's able to do a ton of damage. So he can definitely deal a lot of damage. It's just that for some reason, when you pair him up with hats, he deals way more damage, but the team still loses. But when you pair him up with Yiwa's performance is clearly better when you put, Data UREK Mazino on the team because of that additional yellow element attack. So I'll say the only thing you can pretty much benefit from Data UREK Mazino is the fact that he's just going to add, like, he's basically going to fill in that slot, that additional yellow element attack slot, because he's like a yellow tank unit. So he's going to increase Yiwa's damage because of that the element effect, where if you have 4 yellow element on a team, you can basically increase the attack. So that's like the only reason why Yi was able to deal more damage. But other than that, yeah, I don't know about this character, man. I don't really know. Even at high investment, as you guys can see, 3 red stars, his performance is still pretty mid compared to Flight UREK Mazino. I'm gonna go ahead and increase it even more just to see, just in case. Let's put it at max rainbow at this point. Let's put it at max rainbow. Let's do the same thing for Flight UREK Mazino, and let's go ahead and see. Now, if you guys are wondering why I have Evan at 1 green star, because Evan, you don't really need to have a lot of copies on him. Like, he works perfectly fine with at least 1 green star or even 3 green stars. It doesn't really matter. Evan is just really good with no investment at all. So I'm going to click quick result once again. Now, of course, Data UREK Mazino team is going to win, but look at the performance still. Now, the performance is a lot better because of max rainbow stars, but to be honest, do you really want to max out Data UREK Mazino to full rainbow stars in order for you to get at least, something from him, compared to Flight UREK Mazino, where he's automatically good starting from like 3 blue stars? I feel like Flight UREK Mazino is definitely the better option because he requires low investment. He works perfectly well with Yiwa, and he's able to provide AoE shield that works perfectly well with Ron May. But overall, Data UREK Mazino, if I'm going to recommend you guys to skip or summon for this character, I would definitely tell you guys to skip, because I don't want you guys to waste all your suspendum on this character, especially the fact that we're going to have the collaboration soon, the 7 Deadly Sins collaboration, which is going to come probably like a few months. So I would definitely recommend you guys to hold off your summons and don't really summon for him. If you want to go for him, by all means go ahead, because at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. But if you want to have the most optimized account, and you want to have, if you basically want to have the top meta characters, I can definitely guarantee you guys that Data UREK Mazino is definitely not on the same level as Flight UREK Mazino, because he's just not able to synergize well with Yiwa. The only thing he can pretty much do with Yiwa is increase her attack because he's yellow element, and that's pretty much it. The only thing you can gain from him is that he is a yellow tank unit, and that pretty much fills the yellow, that pretty much makes the yellow element team complete. But is it really worth it? No. So we're probably gonna have to wait for another yellow element unit that doesn't require a lot of investment, because Data UREK Mazino, I feel like he's really good with a lot of investment. As you guys can see at max rainbow stars, he's pretty good, but I don't think it's really worth the time and effort to bring him up to 5 rainbow stars. And keep in mind, guys, maxing out a SSR plus unit with 5 rainbow stars, that costs a lot of money. That is going to cost a ton of money, and if you're a free-to-play player, that is not an easy accomplishment. Like, that is really hard to max out an SSR plus character. Like, the summon rates are already pretty low, so honestly, it's just not worth it. Just stick with your Flight UREK Mazino. Flight UREK Mazino, I'm this close to bring him up to 1 blue star, and his performance, once you reach 3 blue stars with Flight UREK Mazino, he's just insane because he basically has that additional defense. If I come over here to Limit Break, we click Pocket Certificate. At 3 blue stars, you're going to get decreased damage taken from green element plus 50%, which, yes, it increases his defense as well, because you're receiving less damage against green element team, but at purple stars, you're getting that additional defense. So yeah, Flight UREK MAZINO, really solid unit, but compared to Data UREK MAZINO, he's just way better. Data UREK MAZINO is just not the same level as Flight UREK MAZINO. Flight UREK MAZINO, he's a really universal unit that can pretty much work in every single team because he provides shield, and you know, that additional physical and magic resistance is really beneficial. And after Flight UREK MAZINO dies, he basically has a huge AoE stun that just puts the entire enemy team AFK. Of course, there's going to be times where the enemy team is going to be immune to his stun, the AoE stun, but that's still a good ability, the fact that when he dies, he's able to just stun everybody on the enemy team. So yeah, overall, should you skip or summon for Data UREK MAZINO? I would definitely recommend you guys to skip him. He is just not really, how can I say this? He's not really providing a lot as an S surplus unit. Honestly, I thought he would be really good because he's a yellow tank unit and he would basically complete the yellow element, because the only thing that yellow element was missing was a yellow tank. But if I were to say, is he better than Rack? 100%. Data UREK MAZINO is way better than Rack, but is he worth it? No. I would definitely recommend you guys to save up, and probably save up for another yellow element tank unit who can perform way better, or probably another yellow warrior unit who has the same potential as Flight UREK MAZINO, but except, you know, they're two different elements. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But as of to right now, it's pretty obvious that when you pair up Data UREK MAZINO with hats, for some odd reason, his performance is just way better with hats. But investing in the hats right now in the late game is not really worth it, because hats isn't really that good late game. Hats is only good PvP, and that's pretty much it. In the late game, he doesn't really pop off because you have other characters like Joaquin and Yiwa who just do way more damage. So overall, Data UREK MAZINO, definitely skip, because he's just, compared to other warrior units like Data Zahard and Flight UREK MAZINO, he's just not on the same level. But anyways, I'll be ending the video at that. Make sure that you guys comment, like, and subscribe. I appreciate y'all for watching this video, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Peace.